Welcome into the Dead Arm Sports Podcast. Josh and Jell here, live on a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
You betcha. Got a fun show for you today. Not a ton of topics to discuss, and it's all NFL related. So let's kick that off, Jell. Got a question of the day.
Let's not jump too quick into that. Did you see the blazing fire behind me for all you YouTube viewers?
It's
that thing is back up and running.
Wow, that is going to catch your plant on fire.
That thing's roaring. Good thing it's a fake. Actually, no, that's a real plant. It's just dead.
Nice.
It's dried grass.
Okay.
Basically.
Nice.
That you get in like
decor.
The plains.
Huh. In the plains of Texas or what?
The plains of wherever Amazon found them.
Nice. All right. Question of the day. I want to know, other than the Packers, and I'll answer the same question other than the Bears, but what NFL team are you most looking forward to watching this season?
I guess it has to be. I could go with three NFC West or AFC West teams and say Chargers to see if they can get over the hump. The Raiders with the improvement of the upgrade, at least in the wide receiver position, grabbing Devontae, adding Zamir White in the backfield. But it's got to be the Broncos. Got to see what they're able to do. If they're able to kind of get back over the hump, they've been pretty much irrelevant since losing Peyton Manning. I mean, granted, their succession plan was 7'7"
Brock
Osweiler, it was disastrous enough it was so bad that the Texans, when the Texans got an acquired Osweiler, that the Browns, for the Texans to get rid of Osweiler, they had to also send a second rounder to Cleveland. That's how bad that's a disaster. Like, you see that in the NBA sometimes when teams are trying to offload a bad contract. Like we're seeing that right now with the Lakers. Teams are asking, okay, we'll take on Russell Westbrook in his horrible contract, but you have to take on other bad contracts. Plus, you have to give us a first round pick. Like you see that in the NBA. You've seen that for a while. That was the first time we'd seen that in the NFL, where a team had to where the Texans had to attach a second rounder with Osweiler to get rid of Osweiler and get rid of that contract for Cleveland to take on the money. It was basically unprecedented in the worst way possible. So yes, getting back to the Broncos and not done talking about 2012 shitty quarterbacks, or however, that wasn't that long ago, but God, that's a decade. But the most intriguing story out there is, what's Russ going to do? How is he going to do? Is he going to be able to turn the Broncos back from, or back into what they were when they had Peyton Manning, which was just absolutely incredible teams? Obviously, the Broncos had that dominant defense, Von Miller and company back then, but they also had an awesome offense between Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, and that crew. So it'll be interesting because Russell Wilson, let's be honest, he's surrounded by maybe not the number one receiver that Demaryius Thomas was at that time. You can't put Cortland Sutton into that conversation. Demaryius Thomas was in RIP indeed. But when he was in the league and when he was at his peak, he was one of the best receivers in the league. Cortland Sutton can't touch his jock. So at least at this point. So you can't say that he's got that guy, but he does still have three very capable receivers between Sutton, Wes Welker.
Wes Welker. Whoa.
Bring him back. Concussion in the first practice. Aw. But between his three, really four guys, between between the three of the guys that we just talked about last
Jerry
week,
Jeudy, Tim Patrick,
and Sutton, and then KJ Hamler is really, that's a sweet number 4. KJ Hamler
doesn't suck,
and a really ballin' running back situation too. We saw what Javonte Williams could do, and bringing back Melvin Gordon, just probably more of a hopefully Javonte is that primary back, and they can, Melvin Gordon probably, for just a little fantasy tidbit here, may see a little bit of a vulturing going on here, in my opinion, with Melvin there in the backfield. So if you're thinking Javonte Williams real early, buyer beware, because we may see some Melvin Gordon vulture touchdowns. Not Michael Turner level or whoever the guy that other Charger.
Oh gosh, what was it? Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts now. I'll shout it out randomly.
Ran into this the last time we brought up his name, but or try to think of his name, but no. And that defense again is gonna be baller. Bringing having Mike Tolbert. God damn him. 2 MTs, Michael Turner, Mike Tolbert. Just so depressing with him in that backfield too. But no, I mean, combining those guys or that running back with that wide receiver trio plus KJ Hamler, they also have a lot of, it sounds like they're believers in their tight end. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name, something like Iguanawabe.
It's just Alberto.
Let's just go with that. So that offense is, if Russ is what we all think he is, or at least the majority of people think that he is as a quarterback, it's going to be a sweet offense. That defense, adding Randy Gregory, they do lose an interior defensive lineman, but you can plug that up pretty easily if you've got other pass rushers and other interior, at least one other interior lineman. And they've got a ridiculous secondary led by Patrick Surtain. So, but it's insanely intriguing to me to see what they're going to have in store, because on paper they could be the best team in the AFC, but first year with a new quarterback, you never really know how it's going to shake out. Rookie head coach. And the difference here, the last two, I almost said World Series, Super Bowl champs were Tom Brady, first year in Tampa, and Matt Stafford, first year in LA. But they had Bruce Arians and Sean McVay, who'd both been in the organization for a number of years. So, it's not just as simple as bringing a new quarterback and that's going to make the big difference. We don't know if Nathaniel Hackett's going to be any good as a head coach.
You don't know if he can hack it.
God damn it. Good one. So I think that's the most intriguing team. They have a ton of primetime games. They've got 7 standalone games between Christmas, Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday night games. So they're going to be on primetime a ton, as they should be. But I think that's the most intriguing team to watch this season.
Stole my answer. It was going to be Denver. I'm looking forward to seeing them. So I'll pivot to another team that I'm interested to watch, and it's for one reason only, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. They did exactly what they wanted to with Trey Lance. They were able to sit him. They said numerous times last year that they wanted to let him sit behind Jimmy G, learn the offense, and keys are going to be handed over to him, barring some Jimmy G miracle or if Trey Lance just doesn't look ready. But I want to see what he looks like this year, and to see, did San Francisco make the right move, trading future picks to acquire Trey Lance? And we'll get to see that right away. He'll get a nice juicy matchup against the Chicago Bears in opening week. So
that ain't too
should be
shabby.
able to get their wheels rolling right away on that one. But no, I'm very curious to see what goes on there. Is Debo going to show up? He's wanting a new contract. Was rumored that he wanted to be traded. So what's all going on in San Francisco? A lot of storylines that I want to see play out throughout the season.
Let me throw something back at you regarding the Niners. And obviously there's no rumors tied to what I'm going to say. What about a Baker Jimmy G straight up swap? That would work probably for both teams because it's pretty clear Deshaun's going to be out. He's going to have some sort of penalty. If the Browns are looking to compete this year, which clearly I would assume that they are, given that that division is down a little, or, just that the Steelers are down, and we don't know how the Bengals, historically, they've been god awful. Obviously, Joe Burrow is a huge difference maker in that franchise, but who knows? Can the Bengals do the same thing that they did last year? And the Ravens had a down year. Who knows about Lamar's health? He wasn't coming to voluntary OTAs. I'm sure he'll show up for mandatory mini camp and everything and be ready to go. But they still have the same offensive coordinator, Greg Roman. So will that offense evolve? Kind of feels like the Ravens maybe are going to be the same team that they've been over the last few years, which is a little bit underwhelming. Pittsburgh's down. Don't know what to do with Bengals. Browns could, if they have competent quarterback play, easily could compete for the division. Jimmy G can give you competent quarterback play. He took, he a couple years ago just took the Niners to the Super Bowl. On the San Fran side, Baker gives you a backup plan if Trey Lance just straight up is not ready, or if Trey Lance goes down, because the Niners, given that that division is also down, are going to be ready to are wanting to compete for that division, or at least for a wild card spot, because Arizona, losing Chase Edmonds, I guess not a massive blow, but it's a loss. DeAndre Hopkins suspended for 6 games, the first 6 games of the season. JJ Watt's probably going to get injured again. I think that's a pretty safe play for me to say. And so who knows with Arizona, and the Seahawks just lost Russell Wilson. You're not replacing Russell Wilson with Drew Lock or Geno Smith. So that division's down a little bit too. If Trey Lance just isn't ready, or if he gets hurt, given that he is a running quarterback, the little bit that he played last year, he still suffered an injury. So I think it'd be a good idea to bring in a pretty high level backup, which at this point, that's what Baker is. Either a low end starter or high level backup. If Baker can kind of put his ego to the side, stop doing progressive commercials and focus back on football, he would be a great backup for Trey Lance, or week 1 starter if Trey Lance just is not ready. So I think that could be a win-win.
Yeah, but the only issue I have with it is the fact that, is Baker Mayfield ready to be a backup quarterback? Because I just don't see him being happy and being like, oh yeah, go team, rah, rah, rah. I can't see him doing that if he's on San Francisco and sitting behind Trey Lance. And then on the flip side, if you're Cleveland, do you really want to take on that huge contract of Jimmy G? Yeah, he might be beneficial for you at the start of the season with Deshaun out, but is Jimmy G even going to be ready at that point in time? That's another huge question mark, that we don't know the timetable right now for when Jimmy G is going to be ready. And then I'll finish with 3 words for you, Joe. Jacoby Beef Brisket. That's who's the backup right now in Cleveland. So